There it is. Okay. All right. Welcome to my crystal healing webinar, or let's get conscious about our crystals. And as I like to reiterate, the crystals want to work with us as much as we want to work with them. And they want to work through us to raise the vibration of the planet. So let's just feel how that is. We realize today that we are in several places just for this webinar, but think of all the friends you have that are spread around the world that are all interested in crystals. And just realize that the crystals are coming to the surface for a reason. First of all, I'd like, before we can do a meditation with crystals or understand how they heal us, I would like you to write down, I want you to tune into yourself first. Just take a deep breath and tune into your body and just see where in your body you're feeling tension or anxiety, which is basically feeling out of balance. And I'm just going to have you be aware that you have 4 bodies, not just your physical body, but you have a mental body with lots of thoughts. You have an emotional body, of course. And then we have a spirit body, which is what we sense through our heart and our head, like our crown and our heart. The spirit body tends to come through. So just notice where you are feeling some tension, some anxiety, some out of balance, and just write that down for yourself. It may be more than one spot. So just be honest and just, is this for you? It's private. Just write down where you feel a little uneasy or out of balance. And I want you to also write down, what do you do now to bring yourself back to balance? If you use crystals, great, but what else do you use? I use coffee and a walk, and I have 6 cats. I might grab a cat. Give that cat some of my attention. What is it that you do now to relieve yourself of some of this imbalance? Because all of us are healers. We're all intuitive healers. And I want us to just become aware of us already as healers, but then also where are you today? So that by the end of this webinar, when we do a couple crystal healing activities, you'll feel that healing. All right. Wonderful. So just be thinking about that. There are 2 ways to learn to work with crystals. We can learn from a metaphysical book, which is all well and good. Just look up every crystal we can find. Or we're going to activate your intuition by learning the fundamental properties of crystals and how they heal us, so that we can learn to tune into crystals and how they work for us specifically. So I'm going to specialize in your intuition, this part. Today's webinar is we're going to learn how to begin to integrate crystals into our life. We're going to empower ourselves for maximum healing benefits with crystals. We're going to develop skills to personally understand crystals in an intimate way. So we're going to get intimate with a crystal today. We're going to be able to learn more about the crystals than you could learn in a book, just looking them up in a book. And we're also going to bring a desired honor and respect to these crystals. Really, I hope that's already happened when I said, hold them up and realize that they're forming a network right now. They're talking to each other and they're so happy that we're all here. So in today's webinar specifically, I'm going to cover why crystals are important, just in a really intuitive way, common misconceptions about crystal healing, and then how crystal healing works, again, in an intuitive way. So once you get the foundations of how it actually works, then you're going to understand crystals in general. We're going to tune into the Quartz family today for cleansing, grounding, and magnifying, and 3 activities: a quartz crystal sound bowl meditation. We're going to choose a touchstone, and we're going to do a crystal healing meditation with our touchstone. And then I'm going to introduce my new practical techniques for crystal healing certification program, so that you can get further training if you want to dive in deeper and have me more intimately in the group. My experience, my background is that as a teenager growing up in California, in the foothills, the gold rush country, there were rock shops everywhere. And my favorite thing to do wasn't to go to retail clothing stores, but to go to rock shops and rock stores. I just love big raw rocks. I got one of those. Just grab rocks and crystals. These rock stores, they don't see them as metaphysical or special. They don't have to jack up the price. So they just sell them as boxes of rocks. Here you go. And I realized they had so much energy for me, back in the 80s. And then in my 20s, again, back in the 80s, I started to dig up my own crystals in Brazil and Arkansas. And then I've always carried crystals with me on my travels. As a school teacher, I use crystals in my classroom with the children and with my own child, Jackson. Most of my collection, hundreds of them, because whenever I give workshops like this, I bring my collection. A lot of them are Jackson's crystals, my son's crystals, because he really got healed by the crystals. Children love them. And now I use them to support my intuitive and spiritual school, the Center for Clairvoyant and Psychic Development. And this is one of the classes that I teach when we're in person. This is inside a salt cave where I do readings on Mondays and Tuesdays. And we put together a mandala, a grid, with all the participants in class with a theme for peace or love. And we all built it intuitively. And that's what we're going to practice a lot in the Crystal Healing Certificate course that I'm introducing today. Why are crystals important? Crystals are ancient. They help you access past lives, ancient code and skills. And I will explain why. Why can they do that for us? Crystals are alive. They work with your soul. They are actually alive. They were growing in the ground before they were pulled out. They're alive. Crystals are electromagnetic. They work with our body. Our heart is an electromagnetic pulse. Crystals have colors, and so they work with our chakras and the layers of our aura, frequencies. Crystals are cleansing. They break down old beliefs and then prepare you for healing. So crystals take care of that stuff that's sitting there, because we can't just put a healing on top of old stuff. We got to get rid of the old stuff first, then we do the healing. Crystals are grounding. They are from Mother Earth, and so they will connect you to Mother Earth. And in order to really be a psychic, a sensitive person in the world, you've got to be grounded. Otherwise, you're just not here. To be present, crystals are magnifying, and we're going to talk about why. They enhance your awareness, they enhance the energy around us and your psychic abilities. Crystals create grids and vortexes. As I was explaining, when we held up our crystals, we just created, and in this class, just for a short period of time, we're creating a grid, and then thus a vortex. Light can come in. And crystals are bringing humanity to a tipping point. First of all, crystals are very used in ancient times. I do museum tours in New York City, and we see these crystal amulets everywhere. And most things are imbued with crystals, made out of crystals, inlaid with crystals. Crystals are used since ancient times. This is carnelian and lapis lazuli and coral, faience, obsidian, and turquoise, just in this picture, and gold. And the blue at the bottom is called faience. And what they would do in ancient Egypt, and it's just amazing. I don't know why they don't make it today, but apparently they're having a hard time making it or replicating it, but they were masters at it. They would take crushed quartz crystal and mix it with different elements of ancient Egyptian sand and natron and different elements they had, and make it into a paste, and then form it into these amulets and statues. And it was this glowing blue color. It's just fabulous. They said it was from the sun god himself. And this is called faience. But when people work these crystals, each amulet is meant to hold an intention for you to stay in your light, an intention to be disciplined and to bring love or bring light. And so each one of these amulets made out of a crystal is imbued with human intention. And when we walk past these things, you just feel it. They amplify it, but they've been shaped by humans, and they've been given thoughts and energies and emotions, and they store them. That's what's so cool about this. We wear amulets today. I've got a bunch of rings and necklaces. And in those days, they would carry them on their body and put them in mummy wrappings. Whoops, let me see where I am. Uh-oh, something's happening to my, sorry, okay. Crystals are alive. They are powerful beings that have grown in the earth. And when they're found, they're birthed out of the earth and ready to work with us. So you can learn to speak with a being that exists in the crystal. This is a phantom crystal. You can see where it grew and then it stopped growing and then it started growing again, and it left imprints of all of its stages of growth. And with children, I always show them a phantom crystal to say, I see the spirit inside of you growing, right? And you can learn to speak with them. And in the course that I'm going to be teaching, we're going to be doing some clairaudience, some telepathy, some psychometry to communicate with these beings. They carry an electromagnetic field that can be felt by your body, spirit, and mind. That's why they're used in computers and watches, and we're going to explain that. But because they have an electromagnetic field, they can touch on all of our bodies, our physical, mental, spiritual, emotional bodies. They are in colors. They have minerals in them that make them turn colors. And these colors are attractive to us because they relate to our chakras and different frequencies. And so they can, we can choose crystals by their color. Most books about crystals, metaphysical crystals, are organized by their colors. It's one way to access the healing of the crystals. Not every way, but this is one of the ways. So they have healing colors that make us like purple or big yellow. It kind of gives us a way to work with them. They entice us that way with their colors. Crystals are important because they form grids and vortices. Okay, they bring the vibration of their origin. So, for example, I got this quartz crystal in California. I'm now in New York. You know, it carries the energy of its origin, but it also carries the energy of where I am right now. It basically, they form these energetic portals as they travel around the earth. And it's always good to know where your crystal originally came from. Like my sugilite necklace here came from South Africa, and I have the ring as well. So I know that there was a South African ground that it came out of, and now I'm in New York. I got it in California, right? So I'm letting it travel. I'm helping to spread a higher frequency around the planet. And like I said, they're helping us reach a tipping point. So if you haven't noticed, it's 2021 and people are saying, at least to me, my business is good. I want to learn about energy and crystals and chakras and aura. And the crystals are doing that. The crystals are made out of sacred geometry. That's what makes them a crystal. Their crystalline structure is a repeated crystalline perfect geometry that stacks on top of each other to make its own unique form of crystal. And I like to say also, the earth is pushing these crystals out to us. Of course, we're intrigued to dig them out, but the earth is asking us to. We dig them out. We get exposed to this beautiful sacred geometry of a crystal. And then the earth is also pushing up these crop circles. Now, there is a theory that it could be extraterrestrial, but I see as a clairvoyant lately, the earth has told me that it is pushing up these sacred geometric patterns to heal us, because we are made out of crystals ourselves, and our patterns get out of balance, or they get overwhelmed, and so a simplified geometric pattern like this one here, this is a crop circle in Germany last year. They're made in the United States. They appear in Europe. And I believe that the earth is pushing up these sacred geometric patterns, and in farmers' fields, they show up. The earth is gifting us with balance, with a frequency, with information that this is where our natural energy comes from, sacred geometric patterns. In the ancient world, they knew that. They made star forts. They made patterns out of everything. And that's where they got their electricity. It's called Antiquitech. And this man, Masaru Emoto, made a book, and he passed away a little while ago, but he made this book that everybody seems to know about. I don't know if anyone here doesn't know, but he took water and had people think thoughts into the water. He froze it, took pictures of the crystals, and they turned out where they had specific geometric patterns based on our thoughts. So we know that our thoughts and our consciousness act on our environment. Water shows it. And we know that our thoughts and consciousness act on every crystalline structure. We're made out of water. So if they froze us and took pictures of our insides, we would be filled with whatever thoughts, the shape of those crystals. Okay. So thank you looks like that. And we also learned that love and appreciation looks like that. And Mother Teresa, someone thinking about her deeds and what she did. Heavy metal music, you make me sick, I'll kill you. Look how disorganized that is. There is no beautiful pattern. So we would take one of these beautiful sacred geometric crystal patterns and put it next to you make me sick, and it would automatically simplify that and bring it back into its pattern. Okay, so crystals hold a sacred geometric pattern. So when we put them in our frequency and we tune into them, they will go ahead and take us from you make me sick to love and appreciation. Okay, whatever that crystal is vibrating in. Here are crystals that were taken from different bodies of water all over the planet and frozen in photographs. Look at the fountain in Lourdes, France, Japanese rivers and streams, Antarctic ice, and then polluted water. You can see the bottom middle is all disorganized. So crystals are organized structures brought to some disorganization, thoughts and emotions. Maybe we're feeling like at the beginning of this class, I had you feel something. You bring the crystal to that and it's going to bring it back to order and organization and healing. Ultimately, that's how crystalline structures bring us back to healing. So some common misconceptions about crystals is they're not a quick fix package. Like you get a package in the mail and this is because you're a Leo and these are the crystals for your star sign or something. We get little packages or we just get a crystal and we say, okay, heal me, and you set it on your desk. It doesn't really work as a quick fix. So we have to learn to interact with them. They do create harmonic resonance with us as we learn to be conscious about them and work with them. So simply having the crystal doesn't just make it a healing. It's like having a screwdriver and you set it on the table and ask it to do its work. We need to do something with it, or a paintbrush. We have to actually use it. So it's the user of the tool that's doing the work, and the crystal aren't tools. They're beings with feelings and desires. So we have to have a relationship with crystals. All right. And I'm going to have us today create a relationship with a crystal so you can see what I mean. How crystal healing works. We have 4 subtle bodies. All right. So in the energetic world, we are aware of them. When I talk to you about them, it'll make sense. It's the physical body is the one we see. And then there's 3 other bodies: the emotional body, mental, and spiritual body. The spiritual body is the one that we're most interested in here. That's the one we call the aura. And the aura is really a combination of all the bodies. But when we think about the aura, the energetic body, that we feel like there's a bubble around us, an edge, that is the spiritual body. That body has access to all the bodies. So your spirit heals your emotions, your mental, and your physical once you have organized your energetic bodies together. Crystals vibrate at the same level frequency as your spirit body. So if your spirit body has access to all your bodies, that means that the crystal has access to support your spirit body in healing the rest of you. So for example, you go to a party and somebody embarrasses you, or you feel insulted or something, or you're sad, your emotional body wants to cry, but your mental body says, we need to fit in. Don't embarrass yourself. Stuff that down. You're just fine, right? So then you get upset. You stuff down that emotion, right? So the emotional body gets subjugated. It doesn't get to express itself. The physical body's got to find a place to put that thing, right? And then meanwhile, the spirit body is, operating, doing its best to overcome usually the mental body, the analyzer, the thinking body. So that's why our spirit body needs some support. Like, I've got this crystal, I'm going to tune in and release that childhood emotion or release that sadness from me so that it can be expressed and the physical body can not have to hold it and form a tumor or whatever is going on from holding it too long. And so we can do real physical healing using crystals because they support the spirit in overcoming the mental part and then just getting the healing. All right, so that's what we'll be practicing in the healing two-part course that I'm doing. Now, I want to talk about the quartz family. The quartz family is one of 3 important crystal families. And I, as a clairvoyant teacher, like to teach just a general understanding of things so that we can be intuitive in the middle. That's how I teach tarot, just a general understanding of how the cards work. So I'm giving you a general understanding of how quartz works. And then there's 2 other families that I will teach you about in that course starting Thursday, so that you really can identify which family that crystal's in. And then you have the ideas and fundamentals of that family. And then you can tune in intuitively and you have more power over it than just looking up a book and memorizing what somebody wrote. And it's their take on it anyway. 2 people are going to play the same instrument in different ways, right? So we're going to do the quartz family. You can see there, we got clear quartz, we got white quartz, rose quartz, amethyst, which is that purple quartz, and citron, the dark orange, red, yellow on the right, okay? So in the quartz family, we have to be very conscious and very respectful of using the quartz. They're piezoelectric. So what that means, and they've known this for hundreds of years, thousands of years even, that when you squeeze a quartz crystal, it generates an electric charge. And if you squeeze it consistently, so you have something pressing on it, it'll create this oscillation and rhythmic precision and consistent rhythm, okay? So they use it in watches. They use it in cell phones, cars, computers, pacemakers, microchips. Our eyeglasses, mirrors, and glass are all made from sand that contains quartz, which is silicon dioxide. So if you look at all the combinations of silicon dioxide on the planet, apparently 95% of the Earth's crust, we're on a crystal ball. Quartz is the premier programming crystal. So this is why faience was so important, because it was made from crushed quartz crystal, that blue material that they used in ancient Egypt. They discovered that it will hold digital data. So scientists have been researching quartz. They slice it into pieces and then they start to store data on it. And they can get 360 terabytes on a slice of quartz, or 120 million copies of War and Peace, or 76,000 DVDs, and it'll last for 13.8 billion years. So you can imagine these ancient crystals, especially ones that were formed into amulets or made into statues or jewelry, or worked on by people. They've been storing information in them, and they've known that. In fact, they made these crystal skulls that are being found all over the world. If you've probably noticed, you've probably heard of these crystal skulls and wondered, what the heck is that about? Is that Halloween? What's going on? Well, the geometry of the human skull, remember, we're talking about sacred geometry and how it can hold. It apparently possesses a healing ability, and it holds code, ancient code and cosmic information. Apparently it can be a bridge between the ancestors and the spirits when you shape quartz crystal into the shape of a human skull. Pretty interesting. So the quartz is very powerful. And the reason it's so powerful is because it's an amplifier. So if you think about salt, and I sit in a salt crystal cave 2 days a week, salt pulls through osmosis energy to it because it's empty. So a quartz is similar. It pulls energy into it because it's so balanced and calm. It'll sit next to something active, and that active thing will go into the quartz, okay? That's why it's absorbent. And the reason it amplifies is because it's a stack of these pyramid-shaped blocks. They're called tetrahedrons. And when you put the energy in, it starts to go and spiral and speed up. So it's like when you flush the toilet, goes down faster. It's a spiraling velocity that happens in these crystals, these quartz crystals. So we want to place them near images of beautiful trees or in parts of the room that are healing, that we amplify the healing on them, maybe next to your favorite plant. You want to avoid setting them, I've got a bunch around my computer right now so I can feel the difference. Setting it next to your computer, it's going to pick up the EMFs and it's going to amplify those. So if you sleep with your phone near your bed and you put a piece of quartz crystal next to the phone near your bed, it's going to start to absorb the phone energy instead of assisting you with your sleep. In the workshop that I'll be teaching, the certificate program that starts on Thursday, we're going to talk about where to place these and the best way to set your crystals, to clear and set them so that they actually absorb what you want them to absorb and amplify, and not random unconscious amplification. I remember in San Francisco at the Natural History Museum in Golden Gate Park, they have the world's largest quartz crystal in there. I don't know if it's still there. This was years ago. And we would make a pilgrimage as psychic students at the Berkeley Psychic Institute to go see this crystal. And so we would do a healing on it. We would reset it. We would ground it, because all these visitors had come by, and where they'd placed it in the museum, it was just amplifying, you know, until you ground it. And as a psychic, you can start to work with these quartz so that they start to work for you. When you wear them as jewelry, they can also, if they're a point that's pointing down, imagine that. And we look at quartz as having natural points. A lot of times their points are cut off and made a point on the other end. So we want to intuit where their original points are. But if you're wearing jewelry and a piece of quartz and it's pointing down and it's natural, remember, it speeds everything up and out. Your thoughts might be scary thoughts, and you send them down to your third chakra, your stomach, down to your root chakra, your survival, and you're going to start to feel anxiety and create a mental anxiety loop. I'm feeling bad. Maybe he didn't call. Oh, he didn't call. I feel bad, right? So what happens is we want to be careful with our crystal quartz jewelry, okay? So that would go for amethyst and rose quartz and anything we're using. We want to learn to set them so that they don't unconsciously do the opposite of what we want from them. Now, we're going to do a crystal bowl meditation. You ready to do something now? And we're doing good. I'm speaking fast, and hopefully it's informative so far. What I'd like you to do is look at your notes and then just tune into your body again and just see if that place is still out of balance, or you're starting to, just by looking at pictures of crystals and starting to think about them, starting to come back into balance. But we're going to listen to the crystal bowl 3 times. Each time I play the bowl, I'm going to spin around 3 times, and then I'll stop, and then I'll do it a second time, spin 3 times, and then a third time, spin 3 times. So you're going to listen to the crystal. The first time you hear the crystal bowl, you're going to communicate with it. So you're going to have a request. You're going to say, oh, heal me in my heart, heal me in my throat, heal me in my head. Too many thoughts. You know, whatever you would like this crystal bowl to go to, it will. Because remember, those beautiful crystal designs, those patterns, those symmetrical, geometrical patterns are just going to go straight to where they're needed. They will bring it to balance. First time awareness. Second time, imagine that this bowl is going to go right back to that spot, but break down the old debris, just debridement, just get it out of there, get it out. Old patterns, old emotions. Then I'm going to play it the third time, and this crystal is going to bring light. Remember, it creates a portal. It's going to bring light. So you're going to feel that light come through that spot that you needed help with, and light spread out throughout your whole body. All right, you ready? Just take a deep breath. I'm going to play this crystal bowl. The crystal bowl is like faience. It's quartz crystal that's been baked onto this glass. Amazing. And so the quartz crystal is spread out and baked on here. And when I play it, it's going to resonate. So remember, I'm going to do it 3 times. First time, just asking for it to come to you and start to communicate with you. Second time, it's going to come and break stuff down. The third time, it's going to bring gold into the open spaces. Okay, ready? Here we go. First time. to breathe. Notice the connection. Second time, it's going to break down what's stuck in there. Just feel the release, getting washed away, right to the center of the earth. Released, earth takes it back. And now bring light. Just bring beautiful gold light throughout your body, filling in that space. Feel the expansiveness, the clarity, the organization of this frequency. From chaos to organized. That's all healing is. And that's what it's doing. Quartz crystal frequency. Beautiful. And just feel that. Okay. So crystals actually act as tuning forks to your soul. Okay. And I do want to mention that crystals come out of the ground and they are part of Mother Earth. So if they're part of Mother Earth, think about how the earth heals itself. What kind of healing does the earth do? Volcanoes, subjugation, earthquakes, avalanches, really intense. So you may have felt some real intensity from a crystal. Crystal healing is not for sissies. It's very deep, very intense work. They do use quartz crystal on medical instruments, and in the ancient world, in the museum, I found they have a whole section of surgical talismans and instruments, all made out of crystals that were used in surgery in 5,000 to 10,000 years ago. Knowing that crystals do this, they come to the spot, they break it down, and they bring in the light. Okay. So they really support our healing. All right. So if our body is a personal symphony all over, stuff's going on everywhere, right? And we have those four bodies, the emotions, the thoughts, the physical body, the spirit body, right? So the crystal holds this one simplified vibration, one vibrational tone. And you heard it when I played it as the bowl. And we're going to use that as our reference tone, like our home frequency. Just put your hands over your heart. Imagine you have a home frequency that lives in your heart, and visualize a color for your home frequency. If you were, as a spirit, maybe you were in a deep sleep and you had to come back and you were sleeping in let's say you were at a camp sleeping with a whole bunch of people, in a YMCA camp, like you're at camp. How would you find your body in all those bunk beds? Like, where's my body? It's a weird image that I just brought up, but I want you to, or just now in your own house, you go for a dream, you go dreaming and you sleep, you're gone in a deep sleep. And as a spirit, you got to come back, find your house, find your body, get back in. All right. What's your color? What's your reference tone? How do you know your frequency? How do you know you? And other people know this about you already. So find your own tone. People recognize you, so you recognize yourself. And just choose a color. And just know that our third eye can see infinite shades of colors. So just choose, like if it's blue, just start to know the shade of blue. Crayola might not have made it, but you know what shade it is. Just recognize your own color. All right. Now, we're going to use this frequency, home frequency, personal reference tone with our crystal. So you're going to choose a touchstone. Some of you already grabbed a crystal for today, and you might as well use that one for today. It seemed to be the one you wanted. It seemed to be the one you're using. It's going to align your energy, boost and support your intentions, and support a consistent spiritual practice. Look at this Kuan Yin made out of amethyst. How cool is that? Now, you're going to choose your touchstone, and we're going to call it the gold standard. because they used to use like this shale or jasper to scratch on gold to see if it was real. So it became a touchstone or the gold standard, or knowing something is gold. What is your gold? What is your home frequency that you can come back to? So if you get caught up in a situation, come back to your home. And this crystal is going to, you're going to introduce it to your home frequency, and then it's going to know who you are and start to work with you on that. And so choose the crystal that you'd like to use today. I'm actually going to do my rainbow fluorite, and we're just going to put it right in front of your heart and smile. And as you breathe and smile, just imagine that you're introducing the color of your heart to this crystal, and it's absorbing it, because that's what they do. Remember, they're such calm that they absorb anything non-calm near them. And then it's going to amplify that color. And don't make a big deal out of having the right color. Just whatever color comes to mind that brings you joy. Okay, that's your color. There's no way you can mess it up. You know your color, and it can change over time. But today, what's your color? What's your home frequency? And what this crystal is going to do, because it's made from Mother Earth, it's going to ground you. All these thoughts, like a big balloon above your head, are going to get pulled down, all the way down. Picture it all the way down to your root chakra, connecting you to the earth, just bringing things back to balance, getting grounded, being responsive, not reactive. We all need that. There's cleansing. Remember, it likes to go to where you need help. And start to clear it out, making room for the healing. And then you can ask it to magnify your intuition. Now, our intuition, yes, our 6 chakras, our clairvoyance, but our heart is really at where our soul lives, and where we commit to something, and where we have purpose, and where we have enthusiasm, right? And this is your magnet. So you want to magnify your joy through this crystal. Woo! Yay! All right. So just have it held in front of your heart. And now notice that when you place it down, it's going to hold your frequency, and it's going to do a great job of magnifying it. And this is where I want that crystal to become a conductor for a symphony. If you have multiple stones, each stone doesn't know you, but you don't have to introduce yourself to each stone. This touchstone is the conductor who's going to send your frequency to every stone in your collection. And I have probably 200. So I have to frequently go, send it out. Everybody's in unison. Work in unison everywhere. You're going to have this stone start to work in unison. And in the training course that I'm starting on Thursday, we'll get some written materials and some practice and some real grounding about this. But today you can definitely start to use your touchstone as your companion. It can sit near you and amplify your joy, your purpose. You can communicate with it and know that it's going to send out the intentions you give it. It's like your first mate on the ship. It's going to go out and tell everybody else. It's your healing guide. It's your healing assistant. Okay? And you tell it what you need, and it will start to find what you need for you. The phone calls will come in. The idea, oh, I'll drink some green juice. It's going to start to find things you need, like a little miracle maker. Okay? So just get excited about your touchstone. This is, we'll do more of this in the course that I'll introduce to you. All right. So, as you sit with your stone, I like the idea as you send the color, bring it back to your heart, and just set an intention. And just say to the crystal, I'm wishing to work with you. Be there for me each and every day as I remember to be conscious and bring my healing light to this planet, as I help you, who came from deep inside the earth, to bring humanity to a tipping point of consciousness. And whatever direction humanity's going, we want it to go in a conscious place of peace and light and joy. And please, I will assist you to do this. as you assist me to do my work, so be it. Amen. Lots of love. Right? There we go. Set that crystal down. Amen. All right. And now how can you keep working with your crystals? You can carry your touchstone with you. If it's too big, ask it where it wants to be, near your workstation, maybe near your bed, where you want it to be. Go through your collection and just start to adjust the placement of your stones, especially the quartz. You don't want them near any high electrical things, right? Because it's going to go awry. Think of your crystals as a network communicating with you. And again, now you have your touchstone that's going to help organize them all. So it's not a big job. And then you can use them in creative ways, like crystal pendulums. If you have a small crystal, you can put it on a chain and swing it as a pendulum. I'm teaching a pendulum course next week. You can work with children with them, pets, essential oils. Some people make a blend and put crystals inside the blend of the bottle, or even just put crystals in your water bottle and have it vibrate like the frequency of the crystal into your water and drink it. You can do a private guidance with me, with a session with me. I actually have the Port Salt Cave on Mondays and Tuesdays. So we sit in a crystal salt cave, and we can also talk about crystals in a reading. I have a crystal healing certificate course that I'm introducing. It starts this Thursday, and it's 2 hours each Thursday, twice. And we're going to do foundations of personal crystal healing. So I'm going to teach you psychometry and intuition with the crystal, finding, you've got your personal crystal, but just starting to learn to feel really confident about them, and go over the 2 other groups besides the crystal family, the other 2 families of crystals, so that you have really quick access to crystals when you see one. And then the second session's really fun. We're going to be doing ancient crystal healing divination. So this is, how do you heal other people? How do you practice healing in your home? We're going to create an altar and a crystal mandala. And everything's going to be recorded, and you get lots of written materials. As a teacher, I do those like nobody's business. Lots of written materials, lots of things for you to reference, and you actually get a certificate from my school, the Center for Clairvoyant and Psychic Development. And so you just access this course through my website. And the first part, we're going to do more of a relationship development with our crystals and our intuition and psychometry. We're going to get our essential 3 crystals down, and we're going to learn to cleanse and charge them, identify fakes, and where to buy them. The second time we meet for 2 hours, we're going to do crystal divination. So scrying, what is scrying? Reading through using a crystal, and then wands for healing. Remember, if they're already holding a frequency of amplification, if they're in the shape of a wand, it's like a laser. We're going to create an altar for personal and intuitive use. I'm going to give you crystal grids of different sacred geometric shapes to heal yourself and others. And you can even find your own, but you'll know how to do it. So if you sign up by tomorrow, I'll give you $100 off. So it's just $197 instead of $297. And it starts next Thursday from 7 to 9. It's all on Zoom. And then the following Thursday. And also, if you sign up by tomorrow, I'll send you a set of 3 crystals. I'll have them wrapped, so they'll be mystery. And that's how we do psychometry, is we don't know what's in the wrapping, and we're going to tune in and see what the crystal's saying to us and how it can help us. And then when we open it up, we can see, oh, wow, look, it's a jasper or something. We'll see what it is. Okay, so that's fun. And let's see, this is a labradorite picture. Isn't that brilliant? Labradorite, just fantastic. I have classes coming up. I have pendulum exercises, and you can bring your crystal pendulums and swing them on a chain. I have working with children the following week, seeing your child in new light. So I'll go over different ways to work with children, sensitive children, including crystals. And then I have a genie in the bottle. My other tool, earth tool, besides crystals, I love essential oils. So I have an essential oil workshop that I also teach an intuitive aromatherapy. All right, so that's what's coming up. So I'm going to send you a link to the course that I have coming up on Thursday, and you all have access to that discount. I really appreciate your time, because we went an hour, and you can actually, I'm going to come out of this and see if in the next couple minutes you have any questions or comments. And let me come on out of this because there's not as many of us here. Whoop. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. I lost myself. Here we go. And I want to stop the recording.